Trump extends deadline for Iran to open Strait of Hormuz by 10 days. President claims talks with Tehran regime are going very well and says he is pausing energy plant destruction. Donald Trump has extended his deadline for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz by 10 days to April 6th after saying talks are going very well. The president made the statement on Thursday in a social media post, saying, "As per Iranian government request, please let this statement serve to represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6th, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time," Trump said on his Truth Social platform. Talks are ongoing, and despite erroneous statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others, they're going very well. Later, Trump told Fox News, "I gave them a 10-day period. They asked for 7. He also continued to declare victory in the war, adding, "In a certain sense, we have already won." Earlier, the U.S. president had urged Iranian leaders to negotiate an end to the near-month-long war or face further assassinations of senior officials amid intensified action by the U.S. and Israel. That threat came as Israel said it had blown up and eliminated the Revolutionary Guard's naval commander, Ali Reza Tangsiri, and several senior officers in a strike on the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. Heavy strikes by Israeli or U.S. warplanes were also reported around Isfahan, home to a major Iranian airbase and other military sites, as well as one of the nuclear sites bombed by the U.S. during the 12-day war in June. Iran has strenuously denied it is begging to make a deal, as Trump claimed, and continued its retaliatory strikes across a swathe of the Middle East on Thursday. Loud booms were reported in Tel Aviv, the central Israeli city of Modi'in, and Jerusalem throughout the day as Israel's air defenses worked to bring down incoming missiles. In the Gulf, Iranian attacks were also intercepted. Trump's new threat was among a series of statements made by the U.S. president in Washington and on social media on Thursday, in which he again criticized NATO allies, described Iran as producing great negotiators but lousy fighters, and repeated his claim that the war he launched last month had already been won. They now have the chance, that is, to permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions and to join a new path forward, Trump said during a cabinet meeting at the White House. "We'll see if they want to do it. If they don't, we're their worst nightmare." He claimed Tehran had let 10 oil tankers sail through the Strait of Hormuz as a goodwill gesture in negotiations, including some Pakistan flag vessels. Since the war began with an Israeli airstrike that killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, dozens of senior Iranian security and military officials have been killed by the U.S. and Israel, as well as political leaders such as Ali Larijani, the veteran head of the National Security Council. The new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is thought to have been injured, possibly severely, in the attack that killed his father. ADM Brad Cooper, head of U.S. Central Command, said Thursday's killing of Tangsiri put Iran's navy on a path toward irreversible decline, and said the U.S. would keep striking naval targets. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said Tangsiri had been directly responsible for the terror operation of mining and blocking the Strait of Hormuz to maritime traffic. Though the U.S. claims to have destroyed most of Iran's naval capabilities, Tehran has smaller boats capable of laying mines and anti-ship cruise missiles that can be launched from ashore. Either weapon could render the strait impassable to shipping. On Friday, Yemen's Houthis told Lloyd's List there was no cause for concern about the safety of shipping in the Red Sea, and that at present there is no reason to prevent this trade from continuing. With Hormuz effectively all but closed, crude exports from the Saudi Arabian port of Yanbu and the Red Sea via an alternate route have surged, according to Lloyd's List. The Houthis, an Iran-aligned militant group in Yemen, could potentially try to strike those vessels, further destabilizing wobbling energy markets. However, it told the shipping news outlet that it remains committed to safeguarding navigation in the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, as well as ensuring the free flow of trade. There are fears that if Trump follows through on threats to deploy troops to seize Karg Island or elsewhere, Tehran may ask the Houthis to strike shipping in the Red Sea, through which about $1 trillion, 750 billion pounds, worth of goods passed each year before the war. Earlier, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the Houthis' leader, did not say whether the armed rebel group would fight alongside Iran if asked to join the conflict. On Sunday, Trump threatened Iran with a massive escalation of a U.S.-Israeli offensive if it did not reopen the strait within 48 hours. Iran retaliated with a threat to launch broad attacks on energy infrastructure in the Gulf and Israel. Trump then extended his ultimatum until Friday or Saturday. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, accused the U.S. of double standards and said international law was not a tool of convenience. He wrote on X, "The U.S. backed Israel's Gaza blockade, yet condemns Iran for defending itself in the Strait of Hormuz. Double standard. Israel's crimes are okay while Iran's defense against aggressors is condemned." Israel reportedly removed Araghchi and Mohammad Baghalibaf, a regime veteran who is the Speaker of Iran's parliament, from its hit list after Pakistan, which is emerging as a key mediator in the conflict, asked Washington to ensure they were not harmed, a Pakistani official said. Ghalibaf is reportedly the top man, with whom Trump said on Monday he has been indirectly negotiating on terms for ending the conflict. Trump said on Thursday he was seeking an agreement that opened the Strait of Hormuz and shut down Tehran's military and nuclear ambitions, but suggested that a deal might not ultimately come together. "I don't know if we'll be able to do that," he said of the prospects for a deal. "I don't know if we're willing to do that." On Thursday, Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy to the Middle East, said the U.S. had presented a 15-point action list to Iran via Pakistan as a framework for a possible peace deal. Speaking at a cabinet meeting in Washington, Witkoff said there were strong signs that Tehran was ready to negotiate an end to the fighting. A senior Iranian official told Reuters on Thursday that Washington's proposal for ending nearly 4 weeks of fighting was one-sided and unfair, but that diplomacy continued. Iran's Tasnim news agency, citing an unnamed official, said Iran's demands included an end to U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran, but also on Tehran-backed groups elsewhere in the region, an implicit reference to Lebanon's Hezbollah, among others. War reparations should be paid, it said, and Iran's sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz be respected. Analysts said it was very difficult to see any immediate pathway to an agreement given the gap between the two sides and the continuing widening of the conflict, which has directly involved more than a dozen countries from Azerbaijan to Oman. Thousands of U.S. Marines and airborne troops have been sent to the region and could be used to seize Karg Island, Iran's principal hub for oil exports, or other strategic points in the Gulf. Such a move would mark a significant escalation in the conflict. Ali Bahraini, Iran's top envoy to UN institutions in Geneva, warned Thursday that any U.S. and Israeli attempt to mount a ground invasion of Iran would be a big mistake. The death toll from the war has risen to more than 1,900 people in Iran, according to authorities, and nearly 1,100 people in Lebanon, where more than 1 million have been displaced. Israeli strikes in Lebanon have killed another 22 people and wounded 110 in the past 24 hours, Lebanese officials said. Israel says its invasion of southern Lebanon is aimed at protecting its northern border towns from attacks by Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militant Islamist movement, and establishing a defensive buffer zone. 18 people have been killed in Israel in the new conflict.